everyone. Welcome to another edition of AttractWell Office Hours. I'm Coach Ashley, joined today by founder of AttractWell, Greg Kilwine. Hey, Greg.
Hey everyone, welcome. We're glad you're here today.
We're excited to have you here today where we are going to be talking about planning, specifically planning your projects. Every business has them, and it's something that can sometimes make or break your productivity. Today, we're going to talk about what it looks like to plan for 3 essential projects that we believe that everyone should have, most businesses should have in AttractWell, how you can make sure that you get those done. And we've also provided a checklist for you to really kind of see how you can allot your time and break these projects up. Some of them are quite large, that you can break up into manageable pieces so that these things can get done while you're also getting all the other things done that your business needs. So again, welcome. We are thrilled to be here with you again. We're here every Thursday at 2 p.m. US Eastern Time. And this is just a great opportunity for you to get together, learn a little bit about AttractWell, of course, and how to use it. But you'll always take away insights here that you can take forward in your business, even if you are just getting to know us and haven't made the decision to move over to the AttractWell platform. If you don't know us yet, AttractWell is an all-in-one platform with everything that you need to grow your business, to run your business, to get found. If you want to take payments, you want to take care of private clients, you want to serve groups, you want a website, you want a funnel, all of these things you can do in one place instead of having to learn 7 different platforms, get on 7 different calls like this a week. Imagine that, trying to manage everything that you do in your business. We have it all in one place. And a lot of the time, we even create the resources for you to replicate so that it's all done and you just need to make a couple of swaps. So again, welcome. We're excited to have you here today. Head over to the chat. Let us know where you're coming in from. It's always inspiring to see the kind of great work people in this community are doing. So we'd love to get to know you. Greg and I are going to pop out a video while you do that, and we are going to get right over into today's content. So as promised, today we are talking about project planning, and we're going to get into sort of what a checklist will look like for each of the top 3 projects that we recommend you having completed in AttractWell. So today we're going to talk about those top 3 projects and their checklists, and we'll talk about what it looks like to make time for projects while growing your business. A lot of the time we will put the things that we think our business needs in front of the things that it actually needs, right? Sometimes we think we need a shiny object when in fact we need to do the hard work, right? The stuff that actually maybe gets us more exposure or gets us in front of clients. So I want to make sure that we've got great balance for that so that you are seeing success from your efforts across the board. And of course, as always, we will be available for live help and Q&A. Every week, this is an opportunity for us to work together, not just learn something. So if there's something that you would like to know about, if you would like to take advantage of this time, add your questions here if you're on the live call to the Q&A so that we can work together and chat it out here on this live session. If you are watching this as a replay, please come join us in the future. AttractWell.com/office hours is where you want to go. You will be notified of our upcoming topics. And of course, you'll have the opportunity to join here live on Zoom and meet the incredible community here. Speaking of community, we do have a cool Facebook group as well, if you want to join us there. We also have the opportunity every single week to work together live. Now, this is something that you can reserve, and it's totally free. If you are an AttractWell customer, you can go to AttractWell.com/work review and let us know what you want to work on together. And you can even create dedicated space. See, sometimes depending on the subject matter, we can go a little long. I like to kind of pop off at the 30-minute mark and get into Q&A, but sometimes we go longer than that. It could just be that the subject is that interesting, or sometimes it's that complicated or involved. But if you want to make sure that that week you've got some space, you can reserve it. So that's the link that you use to do that. And if you would like to reserve some space for someone to just do this work for you, we've got you covered there too. AttractWell.com/concierge is where you can go to learn about our team, how happy all of the people who have worked with our team have been when they were done. And then, of course, you can sign yourself up for a no obligation conversation about the project you have in mind. Speaking of projects, what are you working on right now? Head into the chat and let me know. What is your top project that you are focusing on right now? And when I say project, if you came to our training a few weeks back where we talked about sort of the difference between goals and projects and tasks, there's sort of a hierarchical structure there, right? Goals are the things you want to achieve in your business, and projects are the things that you complete in pursuit of those goals, right? And sometimes projects are things that are ongoing, such as this might be your content strategy. So content is an ongoing project. It's a perennial project. We're always going to be working on content because content is always going to be working for us. But maybe you are working on developing a new offer. That would be a project, right? And of course, those projects all have tasks, and those are the little things that take up all of our time, right? So tell me about the projects. I see, ooh, working on a course for vagus nerve self-care. Way back in the day when I was pre-med, that was my focus. That is such a fascinating superhighway in the body. All right, working on rebuilding everything. Oh gosh, Mark, that's huge. That's a whole lot. We'll keep it coming here, guys, in the chat. Let us know what you're working on. Brandy's working on a coaching package to expand her working capacity. Very cool. All right, so as you're thinking about the project that you're working on right now, take a step back and think about what goal it will serve for you. So goals are things that we certainly set for ourselves at least once a year, I hope. Ideally, something that we are setting closer to once a quarter so that things really become achievable, right? Breaking our bigger goals down into smaller milestones. It makes those steps that we're taking seem not quite so small, right? So what does the goal what is the goal for you that project serves that you're working on? Keep it coming. I love this. I love the conversation that's starting over here in the chat. Keep it coming, guys. Let's talk about planning your projects. All right. So what I want to recommend that you do, just as a rule, is to plan your projects out quarterly, right? So each quarter, you know what you're spending time on. And this also ensures that you are keeping time available to do the things that keeps your business growing, right? How many of us are so busy with clients that we are struggling to find the time to build stuff? Or maybe it's the flip side. Maybe we are spending so much time building stuff and we don't really have clients to serve with that stuff commensurate to the time that we're putting in. We want to make sure that we've got some balance here, right? And that based on the season that you're in with your business and the state that your business is in, that you've got the right efforts in place in the right areas. Because the fact is, with AttractWell, you can build basically anything. And we're here for you. Those capabilities aren't going away, they're only growing. But for you to be able to make the most out of using AttractWell, well, it's important that you are able to reach some level of profitability, right? So we need to make sure that we aren't just focusing on building the dream program, right? But that we're also doing the work of, getting clients that pay the bills right now, right? So making sure that we are creating space and time for the things that need doing. So what I want you to consider, and this is especially true if you are newer to what you're doing, is that where you're planning your projects, you prioritize your bottom line first. Bottom line meaning the things that make you money and preserve the money that you've made, right? That makes good on what you've been paid for. So things that convert leads to sales, so things that make you money, excuse me, and the things that preserve those relationships and of course the fulfillment of what you've been paid for. These are going to be the very most important things to focus on with your projects, right? What is the nearest, closest way for me to convert leads to sales if I'm new and I'm not making money yet? If you are making money and you are in a position where you want to be able to maybe scale up what you're doing, then of course, then what you're maybe looking at is something slightly different here. In this case, you may be looking at how I can convert leads to sales in less time or on an automated basis, right? Or in serving my clients, how can I improve upon what I'm already doing, maybe allowing me to serve more clients at once without more of an exchange of time, right? Always be thinking about the bottom line first in terms of infrastructure, and then focusing on how you can improve that existing bottom line before you start building, I don't know, your dream house, right? And then of course, here, we want to make sure that once we've got these things in place, if the stuff is working for you, you want to start looking at how you can save yourself time and optimize how you convert leads to sales and how you serve your clients. Okay. Now, the top 3 projects to create an AttractWell will serve all 3 of these things. And in my view, they're 3 of the fastest ways. That doesn't mean the projects are necessarily fast. There are fast ways to do them. But if you have these in place, they create the shortest on-ramp to profitability and scale as a coach or a consultant. If you offer service in any way of selling your time, is at all integral to what you do. So the first thing is a call booking system, right? And that is essentially setting up your calendars appropriately in AttractWell so you can make your calendar available for people to book in a number of different ways. All right. So the call booking system, this is the project. So the reason why everybody needs a call booking system, especially if you're newer to what you're doing or you are not yet super profitable, the fastest path, period, end of story, on the internet for you to master sales and scaling the things that you offer is for you to be speaking directly one-on-one with the people that you want to sell to or who represent who you want to sell to. You know how when you learn a new language, it's common knowledge here that if you want to learn a new language, the fastest way to learn that language is immersion, right? You want to learn Spanish, go to Mexico, go to Spain, right? Go to a Spanish speaking country, and you will learn that language 10 times faster than you would have if you bought a book and you sat at home, right? We need to master the language of our ideal client. And the more you sit on webinars like this one and are not spending time with those actual people, the less fluent you're going to be in the language of your client. So what I want to encourage you to do is pursue projects that get you as much face time in immersion with language of your ideal client as possible. Because that's exactly what's going to tell you what your next offer needs to be, what your lead magnets need to be, how you how you spend your time moving forward, right? If you are not really, really profitable right now, if you aren't making the money that you want to be making, double the time that you're spending in conversations, because it will make you great at selling because you will have spent the time immersed in conversation, right? So if you don't have a call booking system in place, get a call booking system in place so that you can start getting people on calls with you. And the other reason why you want to do this is that it is the fastest path to profit. I could tell you how to create a perfect funnel that works technically in an absolutely perfect way. I could give you the best advice I possibly could to as to the language and what you say on the page to try to get somebody to put their credit card in and give you money. But it's not going to work as well as you in a conversation with someone that you are capable of serving, telling them what you can do for them and asking them to pay. You will be better than me at that because you are for your person, right? And you, if you are steeped in the language of your person, will be able to sell them 100 times better than some old web page. Now, here's the rub. With AttractWell, obviously, you can build funnels that convert on their own. And if you want to be able to write the words that will sell to your people on autopilot, you got to talk to them first. Again, this is about language immersion. And so if you're already on a call with somebody and you have connected and they trust you and they understand you, this is where you say, would you like to get started? And this is where they say yes. And they are at least 50 times more likely to say yes on that call with you than they are on a page. It takes a lot more to build trust to get somebody to buy off of a web page or off of an email than it does when you're in conversation. So don't want to beat this drum any more than I have. Make sure you've got a call booking system in place and spend enough time with your people on calls so that you can speak their language fluently. So how this works, I'm dropping gold in crypto. That's hilarious, Lorna. All right, so how this works, you're going to use discovery calls to determine a fit and to make an offer, right? So when you get on a call with somebody, you're going to explore what their symptoms are, what their struggles are, and you're going to give them some insights and, help them lay out a plan, what have you. And if you feel like this is a person that you could absolutely help knock it out of the park, then you make an offer, right? So you're going to use discovery calls to do that. And then, of course, if they want to purchase they want to work with you, then you can use call packages, which are available in AttractWell for you to set up, and you can sell those call packages. Super simple, right? And then your leads would use the discovery calls, clients would use the client call or the package of calls. And of course, you provide those links and those folks can find time on your calendar to meet with you. You don't have to, go back and forth. I think we all understand and agree that there is a clear benefit in being able to say, here is a link with all of my availability. Choose what's best for you, right? That's going to save you a ton of time out of the gate. But I just really want to stress, I know I could be selling you on the idea that you could create a fully automated system that sells stuff, because you can, and we have the software to do it, and I know how to help you make it work. But if you aren't speaking the language of the person that needs to buy it, there's nothing I can really do for you, right? So make sure that you start here. So the project for this, good news, this can be completed in an afternoon. If you haven't done this already, make this the next thing that you do, the next bit of time that you have available to spend. Do this, right? And here's how you get it done. You're going to choose what kind of calls you will offer. That's a starting point. And what you absolutely need, if you aren't sure, are two things: a discovery call for leads, a client call for clients. Okay. And then we're going to attach our digital calendars that we currently use to AttractWell. We will set up our booking types in AttractWell, call packages if we want to use those. And then you just want to get familiar with what links to share. And again, this can be done in an afternoon. And I have provided a checklist for you. We have several recent trainings that are, every training on call booking that is from the last few months is 100% up to date, because we actually have it built into the system now. We used to have to say, well, you can use Calendly, the free version, and put it into AttractWell. No, you don't need that anymore. You can be fully integrated in AttractWell with this. And this project really does not take much time at all. Now, the next thing that everybody needs, whether you are fluent in the language of your ideal client yet or not, if you are selling courses, or if you are selling group programs, or if you are selling one-on-one, whatever that looks like, you need a funnel like this one. So most of you probably arrived at AttractWell via discovering the one-page funnel blueprint. Everyone needs a funnel that is set up like the one-page funnel blueprint. So what this looks like is, well, first, let's talk about why you need it and why this is different from every other type of funnel you probably have seen or have heard of. The simplest kind of funnel, by the way, is really just one where you say, oh, hey, I made this ebook. Would you like it? And then they get it. And then maybe you send a few emails and then they're on your general mailing list, right? We've all probably done this before. And this is fine. We all need to grow our list. There's nothing wrong with growing your list. If you have a funnel like that, congratulations. It's a good thing to have, but it doesn't do enough, right? So most basic funnels, which is a freebie and a nurture campaign, do very, very little to actually convert ready people to the next stages, right? The most opportune time for someone to go from curious to interested to sold is right away, right? If somebody is already in a place where they're interested in what you have to say, they trust you, and they just put their name and email in on your website, they just said yes to something. When is the best time to have someone say yes? Right after they said yes. So we're going to follow up with another yes. And most funnels miss this critical step. This step in AttractWell, we call it an authority page. And we teach this, CFC is Client Funnel Challenge. We teach this in the Client Funnel Challenge. And you will find on our YouTube channel some information about authority pages as well. So basically what you need to do is position an opportunity for that lead to immediately convert to the next stage of your funnel, right? So in this case, if you are offering discovery calls, which I believe everyone should, especially in the beginning, if you sell your time, especially, we want to say, here's my free thing, my ebook, for example. And then right after, immediately, the next page, the next thing that they see after they opt in to get the ebook, they go to a page that says, hey, great job grabbing that. It's on the way to you. But real quick, check this out. If this is you, we need to talk, right? That needs to be positioned immediately after they opt in. And that is going to get you closer to profit in your funnel, right? And it's going to get you closer again to that immersion and that trust opportunity by getting into a conversation with somebody who's ready for one. Now, not everybody is going to be ready for a conversation out of the gate. And that's why the next thing that needs to happen in this funnel is that nurturing toward, again, that conversation, right? Or if you have downsells and things like that, that you might choose to offer to people who are not interested enough or serious enough to have a conversation with you. But we need to be able to filter out those very serious people as quickly as possible, right? All right, so how this client funnel challenge style funnel works. Your lead opts into a freebie. They get a freebie on a landing page. Say it's your ebook. That lead is then sent to an authority page where they're going to see this conversion opportunity, right? And this is where they're not converting to a sale, they're converting to a highly qualified lead at this point, right? So we went from curious to interested. Oh, they're interested in what you have to say because they put in their name and email to get your ebook. But now we want them qualified, right? For sales. And that means a conversation. So the lead goes to an authority page. They see that opportunity to book with you, and they might choose to book with you, convert to book with you, or they would be nurtured toward conversion on a one-on-one call. All right. And so from that point forward, the leads that are on your list are also going to understand from the jump and ongoing that you are someone that they could work with. And that's always going to be in the back of their mind. Every time you drop a little piece of gold into their inbox via that nurture campaign, or if you're sending out a podcast episode or a YouTube video or whatever, every time they receive information from you, it's going to be through the context of, oh, yeah, I could work with this person. And if we aren't planting that seed right out of the gate, they're not going to be paying close enough attention in the future for that to be something that they're thinking of. Does that make sense? All right, so if you want one of these, we have the Client Funnel Challenge. You can find that in the Success Academy. That's under online resources and courses. You can see the Client Funnel Challenge there. The version that you'll find if you check that out close to the time of filming, where we're live right now in early January, you've got the old version there that I filmed back in 2020. For those of you who are a part of the live cohorts that are going to be launching soon, really excited to work with you on those. After we are done releasing those, we will be updating that Client Funnel Challenge curriculum there. That said, the only thing that's not fully up to date, if you go in there right now and you get started with this, is that it doesn't mention that AttractWell has built-in video hosting, or that we have built-in calendar booking, right? Everything else conceptually is going to be basically the same, right? So definitely make sure that you check that out. All right. Now, the final thing that we recommend as a top project to get into place with AttractWell to plan production of is a private client dashboard. Now, what is this? It's essentially a private place for you and your client to interact, and an organized place for you to keep everything that they need from you, right? All of your communication, all of your file sharing, all of your back and forth, links, everything, one place. One login, one access point, they get everything they need. So the reason why you want this is that it is the most organized and streamlined way to deliver to your one-on-one clients the highest perceivable value possible, so that you can charge what you're worth. And this means, because it's already made, you can spend less time teaching and searching for the link you need to send them, and more time actually coaching and making an impact, right? What this looks like, it's like it's a coursifier coaching is what I've called this previously, where you're basically taking the stuff that your clients need to know. Because very often when you're working with a client, there is a learning curve. There is a gap in what you know and what they know. And they do actually need to cross that gap to some extent. And we spend up to half of our coaching calls teaching concepts and not working on implementation, right? If we don't have things like this in place. So with a private client dashboard, you can have a structural framework in place that you can drop a new version of for every new client you get, that's got, video. If you have video, it's got your downloads, it's got all of these resources so that your clients can self-serve and dig in and get all this great information, so that when they come to calls with you, they're the most prepared possible and you can make the most impact and see them grow the most, right? Because you're not double timing your you're not double timing your learning time or teaching time and your coaching time. So this also very importantly allows you to serve more one-on-one clients at the same time. Because again, you probably spend double the time that you need to with clients if you are spending a ton of time teaching, right? If you want to focus more on coaching, you can have shorter calls, right, that are more impactful, and you're still delivering a high perceivable value to your clients because there's all this stuff and it's this private space and they can chat in there and you chat back and everything that you've talked about so far is all in one place. It just removes so much hurdle for them and for you too. So here's how it works. In AttractWell, you would create a vault, right? And a vault is just a structure in your member area that a lot of people could be in, or in this case, you and one other person will be in. And you'll use this vault as a template for your future clients. So this private client dashboard is actually the vault that you create. No one is going to use this but you. You're going to use this as a template. You're going to replicate this for your future clients. And so what you'll do is you will upload your onboarding and education modules, any documents, agreements, all that kind of stuff is going to go into this vault. You can have a discussion room in here and have, really whatever you want. Like there's so much you can do here based on how you serve your clients. And then what you're going to do is once you have the sort of base for this in place, you're going to turn that vault, you're going to put that into a resource bundle in AttractWell. And a resource bundle is just a replicable thing that you can claim again that doubles the thing that's in there, right? So in this case, you put your vault in a resource bundle, and then you go claim that resource bundle so that you can use it for your next client. Now, I do have some detailed training on this. And of course, we do have a checklist. And even more importantly, this, which you'll also find in your Success Academy, is also going to show you exactly what the steps are, all the tech steps, do this, little bitty bite-sized pieces, very easy to break up into multiple steps here. That's going to be in the Success Academy as well. I call it the How to Build Your, because you can do courses, you could do client dashboards, you can do group programs, all from this same program that we have offered for you there. And it is free if you're an AttractWell customer. So I do have a planning checklist for you that I've put into place, and we will get to that and live Q&A here. Excuse me, let me get my share set up to this. I thought I had, nope, let me find it here real quick. I want to get this checklist here for you so we can go over this here together. Oh, there it is. Okay. One moment. Okay, so project planning. This is our checklist in AttractWell. So I have specified an estimated amount of time for each of these things. You can print this off. You can check it out, check it off one by one. There are direct links here though. So for instance, if you don't have a calendar associated with your AttractWell email address, then there is a link here for you to go to Google and do that. And anyway, all of this is just broken down step by step. And you'll also find, so it's very detailed here for the call booking systems. And then here where we get down to creating your, your client converting funnel, I have your estimated time here. For most people, it's going to take a few weeks, which is totally fine. But this is absolutely something that I've seen done in a day. It really just depends on your degree of perfectionism or how much of this work you may have completed previously for other projects, right? But do make sure that for this one and for the next one that you are following along with the course that's provided to you, because that's going to give you not only the most exhaustive step-by-step along with video demonstrations and tutorials. These will typically also have resource bundles for you to claim as well, so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel with these different pages and things like that that you'll want to create. So here with the private client dashboard, this is the same. And I do kind of go through the step-by-step. So here's how I would suggest that you use this checklist. Number one, if we're talking about getting our call booking systems into place, I would give yourself a couple of hours on the upper end. I think that you could get this done in 20 minutes. If you feel really confident with using the AttractWell system and you're fairly tech proficient, and maybe you've got a nice big computer screen, right? Like if all of those things are hitting right for you, then this is something you could get done very quickly, but I would give it a couple hours just to be safe. So follow these all step by step. And I would just plan on getting at least one booking type, get the booking type done for your leads uh, before breaking this up into multiple steps, right? So if you only have a little bit of time, get your calendars connected and create the booking type for leads, right? Get done up to that point, and then you can proceed with creating the different types of booking instances for clients. Maybe that might be a different hour or two block that you set up for yourself. Now, for the funnel, you're going to want to spend different chunks of time on different pieces. And I have to say at the top, with creating the funnel, first, you have to be really clear on what it is that you're selling, right? You need to understand the value of what it is that you're selling. And it may be that you want to spend a little bit of time in AI developing some of this language if you haven't immersed yourself yet. And if you need a little bit of creative help, right? That's going to help you a lot when you actually sit down to start creating these different pieces. Lucky for you, we do have Write with AI and AttractWell. So when it's time for you to say, come up with a copy for a lead magnet, then of course, it's going to be able to help you do that. And so we've got the steps here, right? So these first few steps, basically up to the point of creating the lead magnet page, I would dedicate that to one session, right? Sitting down, getting the lead magnet figured out, and then putting that into a page. Again, this is all taught and delivered inside of the Client Funnel Challenge course. From there, creating the video is going to be its own work, right? Setting up the authority page, this actually has a template that you'll plug the video into. The campaign would be its own block of work as well, because that is something you want to spend a good amount of time on. And then the landing page is the final step where you just tie everything together. So I would separate this as well. So basically, the first couple of steps you can combine, but the rest are really going to be ones that you dedicate like an individual block of time to. And with the private client dashboard, this I can't really break down for you super well in terms of this is how much time you'll need, because how you take care of your clients is going to vary so much from the next person that it's a little challenging to say. But I will say this, the simplest path to creating a private client dashboard is to simply create a vault, put a discussion room in it, and then create a class with onboarding modules, right? And that is something that I do teach in our YouTube channel. If you look up Coursify Your Coaching, or if you look up Private Client Dashboard, I do walk through an example of this, where essentially you are, you're having the first lesson be your agreements, where they have to return homework and that kind of thing. So definitely worth checking out. If you've got the basic stuff in place, you can be adding as you go, right? You don't need to have 70 videos to be able to release a private client dashboard. In fact, one of the things that you could do that could get you to this point of achievement very quickly, and this is going to depend on how you coach, but if you have maybe someone who is representative of your ideal client who would be open to having their sessions recorded with you. Maybe you're doing this in exchange, right? So if I can record our sessions, I'll coach you for free for this amount of time, where you give them a reduced rate. Then you could actually put those recordings into a client dashboard that you would be able to use for future clients, right? So there are ways to kind of benefit in multiple ways from the work that you're doing. But really, all a private client dashboard needs is a way for you to communicate and a way for you to share files. And you could just create a vault that just has you and your client in it. And then the work that you do there can be what you use to replicate in the future. And of course, when you're replicating a vault, it's not going to include any of the discussion that other people might have added. So you don't have to worry about that being transferred. Okay, Tanya, so you say, I know we had a webinar about our calendars, but I have hesitancy about the booking system in my calendar. Like, I don't trust that my calendar is tight enough to integrate a booking calendar around it. Okay. Can I bring you out to chat and we can talk through it? Let me know, just raise your hand. and I will bring you out to discuss. Okay, so tell me about your calendar. Oh, it doesn't look like you have audio connected. Because typically on Zoom, it's going to show like a little microphone, and it doesn't even show one for you. Oh, wait. It would help if I actually
There.
pressed the button correctly. Sorry, that was on me. Hi.
Don't make me open my settings, girl. Okay, no, I got it. My calendar is a mix of my Google Calendar, my journal that I use, like my planner, like printing with my pen, and my memory. My time management isn't, I guess, at where I feel it should be, so that makes me nervous about um integrating the Google Calendar in case there's not something on there, and then, having conflicts with potential new prospects. Hopefully I'm not alone in this, but that's my worry. So I guess though,
Yeah,
maybe it's just a drive-in situation and I got to give it a try. I don't really know.
it is sort of a fail forward thing, and I don't think that you're going to hit as hard as you think you will if you mess up. um People tend to give a lot more grace than you would assume, for one. And I struggled with this in the beginning as well. Like I had a great deal of resistance around this. I had resistance around using Trello. Like I just had a lot of resistance to get out of my sticky notes and into something that's on a screen. um but once I did, it was life changing. But it did take a little bit
Yeah,
of time. So I think that maybe the best way to look at this is to, hmm, let me show you how I adjust on the fly. How about that? Because I think that that's
sure.
probably the best way to go about this. Number one, you want to make sure, before I even go and show you the calendar itself, like my actual calendar that would be like reflecting availability. Before I do that, make sure that you have in your booking types, make sure that you've got enough padding for yourself. So if you are sort of an on the fly person, and like, and I'm like this sometimes too. Like I might decide I live in what I believe is the greatest city in the world, and sometimes I want to get up and like not work at home. And so I might not be camera ready, or I might, choose to go do a thing, whatever, because I get to choose how my time works. So for that reason, and like to create the space that I want to have for the things I want to do, I will typically have, if I go over here under scheduling settings, I'll typically require a minimum notice of a business day, right? So that's one option, right? So you aren't just available on the fly. I would increase the volume of minimum notice that's required. And and you might choose to minimize the number of days in the future. I wouldn't shrink this much less than 2 weeks. Um, but I wouldn't go crazy far out either. So like maybe I would make this 14 to 28 days or something like that. Because, again, if you maybe have things that are coming up on your calendar that, well, they're not on your calendar, they're just things that that you're going to do, but you haven't put them onto your calendar yet, that gives you a little bit of buffer, right? So there might be something in the future. So I would make sure, yeah, again, that you've got some minimum notice built in, and that you've got maybe a maximum number of daily meetings, especially like the more popular booking with you gets, like this can get a little crazy, and you want to be mindful of that. But yeah, let me show you how. This is something that I learned a while back, right? So this is currently showing, yeah, this is correct. Okay, so this is a current week. Don't know if you were here for that training, but this is kind of where I block off what time looks like for me. In not a literal, I do all of this every single day sense, but like if I could say I had a perfect day, as I believe a perfect day should be, I wake up early, I go to the gym, I get my focus work in, and then I've got a couple blocks that I can do or not do in the afternoon, right? I've set myself up so that that's possible, and I can plan around the day I want to have. Often that's not how it works, right? Like I'll delete something from here or there, whatever. If something comes up and I realize, ooh, I can't be available for that. But I don't want to go and change every single availability instance in AttractWell. What I'll do is I will create, and you have to make sure that this is a calendar that's actually connected to your AttractWell when you do this. But I would create an event and make it show busy, and it's all day. And I just call it out. Oops, I'm not doing anything that late. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so I would just call it out. And it is all day and I am busy. And so that means that any availability that could possibly show on that day, no longer going to show on any of the calendars that, you know, I would otherwise be available on Tuesdays. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's I feel free. And I like those options within the booking call as well, to just ease up a bit on that padding like you talked about. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. This is kind of how I managed my transitional period onto using calendars like this, because I would suddenly realize, oh, oops, that's not going to work. Let me go ahead and like make the rest of that unavailable, or like, oh, I really still need to get this thing done and it's not done yet, and I just need to be super sure. So Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm not going to be bookable, right? So that kind of thing where you set yourself as out, make sure it says busy and it's an all day thing. And then again, you just have to absolutely make sure that whatever the calendar is that you're creating that event for is one that is not only in AttractWell, it's connected in your calendars, but it's also one under here on all of them, additional calendars to check, right? So that's where, you know, you might have a personal calendar, and that might be the one that you're using that for. Just make sure that that iteration of your personal calendar is one that's being checked against in terms of your availability.
All right, I'm gonna go for it. Thanks.
Awesome. You got this. Okay, let's see. Oh, I could have talked to you about this while I still had you on. I have a Google form that I use to understand my prospects before they book a discovery call. Is there a way to do this in AttractWell? Yes, absolutely. So if you qualify someone online, you can send them a direct link to the booking system. Or if I'm just talking about my discovery calls, I can send them to a form that when they complete it, then they go to the booking page. So we used to do something, I used to do something very much like this. And let me just go ahead and pull it up. And I will show you. So 100%, you can ask. So we're asking name, email, text, what's your goal? Check these boxes, yes or no, scale of 1 to 10. Yes, all of this is doable in AttractWell. So it kind of depends on your preference, right? So I actually did do, is that a wellness consult? There was a resource bundle that we did recently. I'm not sure if it's on this account or not. No, okay. Well, here, let me just go over to pages and I'll show you what I'm getting at here. And this is just so, so important for you to have before people get on calls with you. It'll help you to close them. Nope, I just don't, I thought I had a page like this. Oh, here we go. Apply for a call with Jane. See, naming conventions. I'm not naturally good at naming conventions. Okay, so you put your logo here. Here's a compelling reason why they would want to talk with you. This is where you're essentially offering the benefits of your discovery call. In the settings, under leads, there is a message to show. Here we're talking about creating their game plan. And then if I close this part, let's get into fields and booking. This is where we can ask all kinds of questions, right? So you had some short text, there's some long text. Maybe you have another one where we're going to have pick multiple, which ones apply to you. Is it A, is it B, is it C, right? Just like you have on Google, you could set this up exactly the same. But the cool thing is you can actually attach automations here or tags. So if somebody says they're this, they're this, they're that, you can actually segment your list this way, which is pretty cool. You can choose what automation they receive based on these inputs. You can do either ors, you can do drop downs. So create the questionnaire just like you have it on this Google form here, but put it in AttractWell. And you have two choices. One of them is to actually show the calendar booking form for your discovery call on the same page where they are asking the questions, right? Now, if you would prefer to ask the questions first and have their answers be a qualifier as to whether or not you would send your booking link, you do have that option as well. And so what you would do in that case is maybe you have a campaign that has a link to your discovery call, actual booking link. And maybe that campaign is applied via an automation based on an answer they supply here. Or maybe you just choose to send that out to people after you've evaluated their responses here. Generally speaking, if your goal is to immerse yourself in the language of your ideal person, it does ultimately mean you're going to be spending some of your time with people who maybe aren't quite a fit. But the important thing to know is that in the beginning, this is actually really necessary because you want to really reflect on, like, if you got on a call with somebody and they really aren't a good fit for you, you could be asking questions about how they found you and what made them decide to hop on a call with you. And then you can really start to refine the things that you're doing to maybe repel some of what you got, or if they were really great, lean into wherever they came from. So given that, I would actually advocate for including the actual calendar booking form along with the link. And so you can actually see here that if you have the discovery call enabled, it's going to actually show up right down here, where after they fill out this information, they can just go ahead and pick the time to talk to you as well, right? So you do have both options available, and you absolutely do not need to use Google anymore for that. All right, Abigail, when we build our own private client dashboards, would each client require their own vault? Yes, they would. Or could you talk a bit about how multiple clients could be hosted in one vault without seeing each other's discussions? So you can also have a vault with multiple clients in it. And that's definitely, that's where I started with this before we actually released unlimited vaults and classes. I used to use a single vault. And clients would book with me. They would have a link to book with me, and all of the curriculum, like anything that we could be talking about that they need to learn in order to implement something that we're going to be working on together, all of that information was in one vault, and all the clients were in the vault. But because all the clients were in the vault, there was no discussion in the vault. The discussion just took place on our calls, right? So if you want to have a private client dashboard that has the client's name on it, and where you and that client privately can converse back and forth in a discussion room or in discussion threads, you're going to want to have potentially the unlimited vaults and classes feature in AttractWell, just depending on how many clients you have and what the plan level is. Or you would want to look at maybe just having one vault. If that's not where you're at, you could have one vault. You just wouldn't want to enable discussion. Otherwise, that would be a group program. Okay, I don't know who you are, but your name is iPhone in Zoom. All right, question about using tags in landing pages to trigger text messages or email. Sure, it must be easy, but I feel intimidated by it. For example, if I'm doing video and offer LM by lead magnet by saying, if you're interested, just type planner in the comments, how will they apply to receive it automatically? Will it be sent automatically, or I have to respond to each message? Okay, so there's a couple things happening here. First, I want to address the second part of what you mentioned. So if you are on social media and saying comment with such and such if you want to receive my thing, that's not something that is going to connect directly with AttractWell unless you're using a third-party software that will auto-respond, say, from the DMs on a social media platform like Facebook or Instagram. There are bots that do that, right? That you can connect to your Facebook or Instagram. And so if somebody DMs you a word, it's almost like texting in a code, then that thing could potentially connect with AttractWell via something like Zapier, right? Which would connect the software on the back end. The other option that you have is to reply manually to those people. And what you would do is you would send a landing page link to them, right? Generally speaking, though, and I don't do this social media type the thing in the comments stuff myself. So take this with a grain of salt as a no longer a social media person, me. If you're getting somebody to comment a thing, you're benefiting from them giving you edge rank, right? From validating the stuff that you're doing. And if it were me, I would feel a little bit weird that like you made me do this thing and now I got to go do this other thing in order to get this thing that I asked for, right? So I would feel weird if it were me sending them to a landing page. Like if somebody did that and they DM'd me, I would just pick up the conversation and start talking with them and then just give them the freebie because their response to me directly was basically like them opting in. And you could go ahead and say, hey, by the way, I've got something I want to send you. Can you give me your email address, right? You could say, maybe they DM you and you say, hey, just pop me your email address and I'll get it to you. Maybe you apply the campaign to them. Now, getting over to landing pages, please, I hope that made sense. Over here to landing pages, it's not the tag that accomplishes the sending of the message. There are a couple of things. And here we go. Let me go over to landing pages here real quick, and I'll show you. When someone goes to a landing page, and let's just take a look at this one here. When someone goes to a landing page like this one, where they want to get your 5 tips to lowering blood sugar and kick the meds for good, when they put their name, email, and phone in here and click this button, what should happen is they go to quite often a confirmation page, right? Confirmation page says, check your email. I have just sent you the thing that you asked for. Now, I have just sent you is really a campaign that is sending that, right? So if you want to trigger messages via text or email, what you want to do is set up a landing page and make sure that you have a campaign attached to it, right? That is how someone would visit a landing page. Again, this being the published version, and the message that would go out. Now, you don't need to collect phone unless you want to, right? I find that if phone isn't like a specific part of your strategy, it's just better left off because you do run the risk if you don't feel super confident, and you could even just mess up. I've messed up like this myself personally, and I've been using this platform for a long time. You can, accidentally text, and then if they didn't realize they were going to be getting texts from you, it just kind of creates this awkward, icky situation. So if phone number isn't necessary for what you do, I would actually just in the setup for the page, I would just not show phone. Oops, definitely show email and require email, but you don't have to show phone. Now, if this is something that you want to be phone-based, in lieu of having a landing page like this, if you want to send this out via text, if the campaign is text-focused, let's take a look at this campaign. This is 3 ways being crunchy can change your life. Let me go over here and edit this. In the settings of this campaign, there's another option for you if you wanted to use like text marketing, right? In the campaign settings, you can actually create a text in keyword, right? So if I use, this is going to be crunchy, because this 3 ways being crunchy can change your life. Here we go for the hippies. If we tell them to text the AttractWell phone number that you have with the word crunchy, if we have it set up this way, then they will receive the messages in this campaign as text messages to their phone, right? So that is the other way to be able to have them say, this word, and then they get this stuff. That's a text in campaign. And so you can adjust that in the settings here by giving a campaign a keyword, but you do have to make sure that you're providing them with your AttractWell phone number, right? The one that's attached to your account. You're going to find that when you click up here on chat. So when they text the number associated with your AttractWell account, which is often a custom one, or one that you've ported over from somewhere else, if they text that keyword, they will get that campaign. Okay, perfect. Oh, good. I'm so glad that that made sense, and that's actually what you were looking for. So yeah, that's a text-in campaign. So just make sure that you're specifying, this is the phone number, send this keyword to it, and you'll get these things. And Tana, good question. Would you want your copy to be shorter because we text differently than we email? Technically, yes. You're going to have campaigns that are designed for text convert more effectively than campaigns that are not. However, The cool thing that happens with AttractWell is we actually shorten it. So if it says, you know, hey, so-and-so, here's your guide, it's going to have this up here in the top. And then it's going to say a couple of things, and then it's going to say read more and provide a link. And when they click that link, it's going to take them to an auto-generated page that's on your website with AttractWell, and it's going to provide the rest of the content of this message. Now, you do have the option as you're developing your campaigns, you can specify what you want to go out if it's being sent by text. Right, so you can have a dual purpose campaign. So if you want to actually take this same content and you want to size it down for text and then use this campaign as an either or, you can do that in this field here, and you can even include images. Awesome. Thank you guys for so many great questions here today. I'm curious what projects you are interested in learning about doing next. I hope that the ones that are on your list to get done next are your calendar, the funnel, and of course, that private client dashboard. If there's other things that you want to learn to do, we of course look forward to hosting you on more of these calls in the future, sharing more of this information with you. For those of you who are going to be a part of the Perennial Program Workshop, and the Client Funnel Challenge cohorts. We did send out some information about that earlier this week. If you have not received that information, shoot a message to our team so we can make sure that you are queued up to get that correctly. And we are really excited about working together there. Awesome. Want to learn how to build an audience quickly. Fantastic. So Bridget, the Client Funnel Challenge is going to be the place for that, because what you want to build an audience is to capture and collect contact information, right? And then from there, it's content, 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 content. So much content. When we first started teaching this stuff, when I first started teaching this on the AttractWell platform, user friendly, easy for the average person AI did not exist. There is so much potential for you to be able to create great content and to assist yourself, very specifically assist yourself in your voice, speaking your client's language, to create great content. There is just so much that's happened, even just in the last 5 years, that have made getting your word out there so much more accessible and in so much less time. So yeah, definitely check out the Client Funnel Challenge. There will be a refresh of that coming up after we're done with our cohorts here in this first quarter. All right, so that is it for this week, you guys. We will see you till then in the Facebook group. And of course, have a great week. We'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.